Hey everyone, welcome. Amazing. Everyone's joining in. Lovely to see everyone here. You will notice if you didn't join us yesterday, you are on mute, but we do love to have video on if possible. It's so great to be able to see you. So love having video on for today's training. So I can engage with you all as well. If you are eating lunch or something like that or dinner, totally fine for you to leave your video off. Just lovely to be able to connect with you all. We do have more people joining soon, but just while we wait, those of you that were here yesterday, can you just pop into the chat? What was a takeaway from yesterday? What's something that you learned yesterday? What's something you found interesting? Just as a few more people gather. So those of you here yesterday, what was interesting? What was helpful? What did you learn? Right? Day one was all around offerings. And yeah, there was some really good things happening, some big aha moments happening in the chat as well, which was fantastic. So honestly, I'm just really excited about launching into day two. Day two is going to be all about mindset. So we're going to be getting underway with that very soon. So those of you that have just joined us, firing into the chat, if you were here yesterday, what were some of the takeaways as we have a few more people joining us? So you might remember, those of you here yesterday, we did talk about the 3 to 5 offerings, right? So that is something really powerful. And Lindsay's mentioned that as well, is really picking 3 to 5 offerings is a really good thing to do. Yes, it will depend on how many other things you have happening in your life, for sure. If you have a day job, if you have family you're caring for, if you have other commitments, if you have some wellness challenges, maybe it might be too much to focus on 5 things. It could more look like 3. Right, so everyone's going to be different, and of course we define them in lots of different ways. We also talked a lot about this idea of the $300 plus offerings, right? So those of you that were here will remember that. I know that was quite interesting for some of you. You were quite surprised as well. But what I was really saying is that what we see from working with many people is that the $300 plus offerings are the things that help them get to their goals and build sustainable businesses. Right? People still do other things as well, right? Other forms of income, things that are based on smaller items and items they sell for lower amounts, products or services. But we see that it's a smaller portion of where they focus their time and energy. Actually, the bigger portion tends to be on things that are higher price points. I love some of the other things being shared in the chat here as well. So yep, $300 plus offerings there, Christine, as well. Lots of ideas for how to pivot the approach, right? So this is what we see. I have many conversations with people who are like, that's why things haven't been working. I can kind of see that now. It's a bit of a numbers game. Yes, maybe if I had 100,000 followers, I could make lots of money off smaller ticket items. Even then, as I shared yesterday, our clients with those larger followings, they struggle to make some of those things work to an extent that you think would be possible. So amazing sharing there. Yep, focus more on client work. Yep, so often the $300 plus work is client work. That tends to be where it falls, not always, but it does tend to be there. And once again, I say $300 plus, $1,000 even better. $2,000, $500, $1,500. These higher numbers are really what it's all about. And we even have some clients that have offerings that are $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 as well. So they can certainly get you to your goals and dreams much quicker. If you have those higher ticket items, you can work with a smaller number of people. Cool. So those of you that were not here yesterday, I'm going to just do a really quick intro. I'm going to keep it pretty brief because quite a few people were with us yesterday. My background is that I had my own creative business for 11 years. Early on in that journey, I started getting involved more in education and teaching. I actually went and did and studied an entrepreneurship master's myself, and then ended up doing lots of teaching part-time with programs and university programs, primarily some public programs, mainly in New Zealand, where I'm originally from. So there was a lot of part-time contract work that I was doing. Now, eventually that really evolved into me coaching, teaching full-time and running our own programs. These days we work with multiple groups of people, but it's really about people that are early stage in their journey, trying to get moving, people who are like, I'm doing it, I'm full-time in my business now, but I really want to make it more sustainable. And yes, we do also work with more advanced people occasionally as well. Everyone is in the visual creative space though, so very much designers and illustrators and muralists and sometimes other areas as well, but it's really visual creative is our realm. And most of our clients are actually based in the US. We also have clients in Canada and some in Europe as well, and even a couple of other people dotted elsewhere, but we do primarily have US and Canadian based clients. Okay, so today is going to be all about mindset. right? So we're going to be digging into this. I am going to be sharing a bit of a freebie at the end of the call. It's going to be just a link and a downloadable freebie. It's my morning routine downloadable. So I'll make sure I share that at the end as well. So definitely stick around for that. Now, one thing I did share yesterday, I kind of went on about this quite a lot. Some of you would have been like, we hear you, Logan, is this idea of taking action. Now, as I mentioned, I used to teach at universities, primarily in New Zealand. And one of the reasons that I got those contracts was that they needed more action and implementation in their programs. They basically wanted to get beyond just the theory. So that's where actually I got involved and ended up teaching and helping multiple programs with that side, with actually more implementation, more action beyond the theory. So it's something I'm very passionate about. And I want to remind you about today as well, is that I want everyone here to be engaged, to be, yes, taking notes. We're going to be doing some brainstorms as well. So when we've got those activities, yeah, have a go at them, because that's going to be about taking action. And then we want you to be implementing the things that you're learning here today as well. Okay, so the first thing I would love everyone to do, I'd love you to add into the chat how good your mindset is. Now, I'm going to define that a bit more, but I'm going to put a 1 to 10. So I'm talking about your mindset in terms of confidence and thinking like a business owner. Is it really low? It's a 1, or really high? It's a 10. So if it's a low, it's like I'm not a business owner, and I low confidence in myself as a business owner at the moment, would be right down at 1. If you're like, I'm amazing at this stuff, I'm super confident, I am a business owner, then you would put a 10, right? So a 9 or a 10 up top there. So I would love everyone to add into the chat where they think their number is at within this. No right or wrong answer, but would love everyone to pop in. Even those of you on phone, I know not everyone can have video on. Video on's great if you can, but pop that in, type that on your phone, those of you listening in as well. Cool. So we're getting a few numbers rolling in. So we could see there's some 5s, 6s, 8s, 4, 7, 7. There we go. So, and part of this here is really about understanding where your gaps are and where room for improvement is as well. And I will say, if you are anything below a 10, then there is room for improvement, right? If you even say I am a 9, well, there's room to improve that to a 10. Now, if you're a 10, I'm sorry to say, and I don't think anyone wrote 10. I'm not calling anyone out. No, there's no 10s there. I would probably say it's not true. I'm sorry to say, I am not a 10 either, right? So this is something that mindset, there's always more to learn. There's always space to grow. And this is something to keep working and developing as you grow personally and professionally as well. So why does it matter? Like, why am I dedicating an entire day of the summit to mindset? And as a question, I'd love people to start sharing in the chat, like, why does your mindset matter? Why does your confidence matter when it comes to building business, to growing a business? Why am I spending a whole day on this? So have a go in the chat. There's no right or wrong answers, but love to hear, why is Logan spending a whole day on this? Why does your mindset matter? Why does confidence matter? Why do we care, right? Why do we care about mindset? Why is it something important? So I'll just let a few people share in the chat. Have a go. Why does this matter? Why are we going to be dedicating time to this? Why are we going to spend an hour together talking about mindset? There we go. So there's some good things being shared in the chat there. You can only go far. You can only go as far as you'll let yourself, Lindsay. I love that. If you're afraid to take action, you won't take action. Oh, Christine, that's a good one. I love that. This is where you get your actions from, Saren. I love that. Catherine sharing, if you don't believe in yourself and your work, it's impossible to convince others of the value. Ooh, love it. And your mind is what moves your business forward, Jamie. Absolutely. These are all correct things, and feel free to add other things in the chat here as well if others have thoughts to share. All of these things are right. And ultimately, mindset underpins everything in your business. And the way to think about it is that it works everywhere. So if you don't have a strong mindset and you're feeling negative and you're not feeling confident, you are going to struggle to move your business forward. You're going to struggle to take action. You're going to struggle to do things like marketing or even create your work, because things are going to get in your way. So, for example, one of the things you might need to do in your business is be posting to Instagram or be sending cold emails. If you have very low confidence in yourself and in your work, you're going to struggle to do those things. You're going to struggle to take those actions. Therefore, there's usually some work to be done, right? There's usually some work to be done around mindset. Those of you that are really recognizing I shared a really low number. It's basically saying, hey, that's something that is holding you back from growing your business, from taking the steps to maybe starting your business for some of you or growing your business. That stuff's getting in your way, and that stuff is inhibiting you from taking action. Also, it's probably getting in the way of you learning as well. And that's kind of an interesting one, because you might be like, I don't know how to do these things, Logan. You're talking about Instagram, you're talking about cold email, but I don't know how to do these things. And something that we notice is that people that work on their mindset, their confidence, their abundance mindset, their positivity, they are the people that are like, I need to figure this stuff out. I can figure this stuff out. I will figure this stuff out. And they search for the answers. They get support around them to help it make it happen. These are the people that move things forward. They're people that have worked on their mindset. At the same time, mindset isn't just naturally something that is going to be there, right? It's not naturally going to actually, I wake up and I'm a confident person, right? I'm sure we see people in our lives, we all see people in our lives that just naturally seem to have an air of confidence, right? We all see that. Well, we can also all work on our confidence. Some people maybe are born slightly more confident than others. Well, I don't know if they're born like that. I think it's probably their upbringing, but everyone here can work on these things. So it's not a fixed thing. You do not have a fixed level of confidence. You do not have a fixed level of positive thinking. These are all things that you can actively grow, educate yourself on, work on as well. So the first thing I'm going to really dig into here is the idea of what I call becoming your successful self. And it's kind of a bit of a backwards idea, but basically it's really around being the person you want to become now to become that person, right? That's a bit of a tongue twister. What I'm really saying is that you need to actually be the change before you see the change. In order to achieve something that you've never done before, you're probably going to have to become someone who has the habits, mindset, and ability to achieve those goals. Right? Once again, it kind of feels quite backwards, but what I'm saying is that you actually almost need to become the person first to become the person. Right? So it's very confusing when you start thinking about it. However, this is incredibly important. If you want to be earning $10,000 per month, well, how would someone behave that was earning $10,000 per month? I think that maybe they would be really focused on their work. They would probably have a really good setup around their structure. They would probably have the same time they get up each day. They probably would be focused on their wellness, on their mindset. They might have mantras. They might write out their goals each day. There's ways that that person, that version of you, would act in the world, right? If you were earning $10,000 every month, what time would you wake up in the morning? How would you live in the world? What sort of person would you be? How would you interact with other people? The really interesting thing about that idea is that you can probably do a lot of those things now. Now, I get it. There's some things you could say, well, I can't afford to do some of the things. Like, for example, if I was earning $10,000 per month, I would get a massage every single week. Like, there's just something I would do, and I know that would be really good for me. That's how I would act if I was earning $10,000 per month. You might say, well, I can't actually afford to do that right now because I'm not earning the $10,000 per month. Well, could you do it once a month? Could you have a short massage? Could you have a massage every 2 months? What could you do? Then there's some things like, hey, if I was earning $10,000 per month, I would have a consistent wake up time every morning, whatever that is, whether that's 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever it is, consistent wake up time. Well, that's something that you can literally do right now. So there's often things and behaviors you can do before you earn what you want to earn. And those things are going to help you to get there, right? Jamie shared in here, fake it till you make it. Absolutely. Powerful, powerful quote, right? So a really, really powerful thing there is this idea of becoming your successful self and being that successful self now and acting in that way. Right? You may be like, but I'm not yet. You may be like, I'm not yet in that place at the moment, but I'm working towards that. Right? I'm working towards that place where I can be that successful person, where I can be working on these things here. So these are really good things to keep in mind is fake it till you make it, becoming your successful self, now rather than just waiting. Cool. So what I would love everyone to do is I want everyone to add in one thing into the chat that they could do or start doing to start acting like their successful self. Right? What's one thing that you would do if you were earning $10,000 per month that you could start doing now? Love everyone to have a go at that answer. Have a go at what that could be. No right or wrong answers here, but what could you be doing? What sort of activities, what sort of tasks, what sort of things could you be focusing your time and energy on to make that happen? And ideally, something that you can be starting to do now, right? So something that is very doable, something that, you're not going to be able to maybe not afford that or spend time and energy on that now. Ideally, something you can, right? So already a few things being put in here, post on socials, right? Someone that was earning $10,000 per month would probably consistently post on social. I know there was a question around that. Is there really value posting to Instagram, Catherine? The short answer is yes, it's still a valuable place to post. It can come down to how much you need to post. Is that a core area? You don't need to post on every single day to be successful, and you could just post occasionally, but you do need to figure out other ways to market. I won't go on about that more now because we're going to keep focused on mindset, but I have a lot of thoughts around that stuff, as you can imagine. Catherine, I love what you've shared as well, gym membership, right? And if you're like, well, I would have a gym membership or I could earn, if I was earning that right now, that's not a priority financially. That may be true, it may not be true. Well, instead of a gym membership, what else could you do? Maybe it's just go for a walk each day. Maybe that's something that you could be doing now. Only saying yes to clients that excite me, Lindsay. Oh, that's a good one for sure. I love that. Right. So, and that might become from a place of, well, maybe you're not quite there yet now, but you can start questioning and thinking every time a client opportunity comes in going, is this someone I want to say yes to? So rather than just automatically saying yes, that could be an action that you could already take. And obviously working towards a place where you are saying yes to the clients you want to work with. Sit at my desk in my office instead of trying to work from the couch, Christine. This is a big one. We're going to talk about this a little bit more as well. And, I think it's a really interesting one because like as a business owner, you get to decide where you work from. And I think there's some beauty in that as well. We also just need to be aware that if we're sitting on the couch, we're kind of, that's the place we're hanging out and relaxing normally. So we're kind of stepping into that zone of like, oh, I'm sitting in my couch. Our body, like our subconscious mind's recognizing, our body's recognizing, oh, this is very comfortable. I'm in relaxed mode now. Whereas if you're at your desk, you're like, oh, I feel more motivated. So it's kind of an interesting one. And I'm going to talk more about that as well. Have a banker social post ready to go. Oh, Jamie, that's a good one. Yep, for sure. Have better morning routines, exercise, meditation, right? So these are things that don't cost money. They don't need to take lots of time either. Could just be a really simple morning routine. Could just be a 10-minute yoga session. That's what I do most mornings. Meditation, right? You could get into meditation, and it's something that you could do with a short amount of time as well. Cool. I love that. Some really good ideas here. And remember, the big message here was really about becoming your successful self now. So doing some things that you can already do rather than saying, oh, well, when I get there, I will do this. Once I'm earning more money, I will go to the gym. Once I'm earning more money, I will get up at this time. Or when I'm at this point, I will work from the desk. Whatever that looks like is like you can do a lot of those things now, or at least a version of it. Very, very cool. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is this idea of growing through discomfort. Growing through discomfort. The idea here is really that doing things that are uncomfortable, they lead to growth. Now, something that we occasionally hear, and I think we all occasionally say, is, well, this task here, this action here doesn't resonate with me. Right? Oh, posting to Instagram doesn't really resonate with me. Right? Cold email. I've heard people say this. Cold email doesn't really resonate with me. Is it that it doesn't resonate, or is it just uncomfortable? Is it just an uncomfortable growth? Is it something that you don't have knowledge about, something you haven't done before, something that you've never really thought about? So there's kind of a difference there between this idea of going, hey, deep down, this just doesn't feel good. Is it that, or is it just, hey, this just feels uncomfortable because I've never done it before and I'm avoiding it? Right? So we've had these conversations with our clients we've worked with who've gone like, oh, no, cold email, it's not for me. It doesn't feel right. And sometimes we need to just dig into it and be like, well, what's going on? And they're like, well, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to send. I don't know what to say. What if someone attacks me? What if someone replies saying, how dare you? Where did you get my email? Right. So, yeah, we can work through them in terms of those feelings. But that's more about the discomforts that come up, not that deep down there's this belief against something. And sometimes that can come up as well. But usually it's more about discomfort. Now, as I said, you do need to get outside that comfort zone to grow a business. And that uncomfortability or that being uncomfortable can lead to growth. So something I think about is this idea that there's the comfort zone. If we imagine right now a big circle, most people operate within their comfort zone, but the opportunities often will lie outside the comfort zone, doing things different. The one thing I will say is that you shouldn't jump too far out of your comfort zone because that is overwhelming and that is too scary. So one of the things we talk about is, hey, what are the ways you can tiptoe out of the comfort zone? How can you stick your foot out of that circle rather than do a big dive into the wilderness? That's going to be really scary and uncomfortable and overwhelming. What could you do to test something? Oh, okay. Like I was talking about cold email. Could I send one? Could I try and find a list of 5 people I could email? Right, so really breaking it down into those small actions. Hey, we're talking about Instagram earlier. Well, could I do one post? Even if I decide to take it down straight away, could I still do it? Right. So what are the small things that you can do? Failure is part of the journey. Failure is also learning. And I think people have weird relationships with failure. They think that failure is very bad and they have to avoid failure at all costs. The problem is, if you have that mindset, you're probably never going to leave your house. You're probably never going to really try and start and grow your business or take your business to the next step because failure is going to happen. What's really interesting, if you start to look behind the stories of very successful people, you'll find that they have lots of stories of failure. At tons. They're like, oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe it. This went wrong and that went wrong and I did this wrong and I failed here and failed there. Right? They've pushed themselves and they've failed a bunch. But the key is they've also then learned from it as well. So failure is going to be part of that journey. Growing through discomfort is going to be part of it. It's going to be frustrating at times as well. But you're going to be learning from these things. We're going to do another activity. We're going to do a short brainstorm this time. So make sure you've got your own notepad or a document rather than in the chat. I want everyone to do a bit of a brainstorm, writing down things you've failed at recently. You can think about in the last year, maybe 5 years, that's fine as well, or even the last 2 weeks. I want you to just write down as many things as you can that you failed at recently. So I'll just give everyone a bit of time to do that. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you share the whole list with everyone. But write down those things you failed at, those mistakes you've made. And it can be both personal and professional, by the way. It doesn't have to be like something you did wrong in trying to grow your own creative business or start your own creative business or take it forward. It could just be like, oh, here's the stuff up I did. Here's a failure. Here's something I got wrong. So everyone just taking down some notes, see what you can do, see what you can write down. I don't really mind time frame wise, but if you need that, last 12 months. If you get stuck, that's all right. There will be other things, other ideas will come to your mind. What have you got wrong? Was there some sort of test you failed? Did you try and get your driver's license maybe? Or did you try and do something at your day job, those of you in day jobs that you made stuff up at? Did you try and post up on Instagram and you put some spelling mistakes in the caption? Did you upset someone? That could be a failure. Catherine sharing in the chat, fixing the car. Yeah, tried to fix the car. That's a good one. So just give everyone a little bit longer, another 30 seconds. You can write down some more. And some of you might be like just writing like lots and lots of stuff. Others might be struggling a bit. What else have you got wrong? What else have you failed at? And this is an activity you can work on later as well. It's a pretty interesting one. Look, if you have a very small list, right? If you were like, I can't think of much, I've got a couple of things on here, I don't really know. One of the things I will say is that you're probably not pushing your own potential, right? You probably are working within the safe space, within the comfort zone, right? If people do want to add things to the chat, feel free. You don't have to. If you want to add some things to the chat too. But that's one thing to notice. If you could only get a small number of things on there, then you might not be pushing your own potential. You might be playing things safe. And that means you might not actually be learning as much either. Now, those of you that were like, oh my goodness, Logan, like I've got a whole list. I'm like, I had to get another piece of paper and I'm like, oh my goodness, look at the things, look at all these failures and the negativity and these things I'm doing wrong. You probably are what I would call a super learner, and you are really pushing and testing your own potential. You are operating out of your comfort zone. This is all very positive stuff, by the way. Right? Now, just be aware there may be a bit of an overwhelmed feeling. Right? So sometimes we've got to balance there, sometimes we've got to scale it back. But most people tend to operate in general in a safer space within a comfort zone. And they get out of that comfort zone a little bit. So this is really an encouragement to break some stuff, to get some things wrong, to try things. When you try, you fail, and you learn. Growing through discomfort. It's an important part of it. If you just wait for perfection and make sure it's going to be perfect, right? I've got to get this Instagram post absolutely perfect before I post it. Well, first of all, you're probably never going to post it. Or it's going to take you a huge amount of time. And in that time, when you've been second guessing yourself and thinking about it and stuck, you probably could have done 5 Instagram posts and you could have learned a lot from those 5. So one of the things I really notice is that people who have a lot of success are also really good action takers. They're not necessarily always successful action takers. They get stuff wrong as well. They break stuff, but they're also fast learners. Right, so lots of good examples being fired into the chat here. Posted patterns with mistakes, failed in making income from my art, spending too much time print on demand, other things around being undersold, underselling yourself, missing appointments, not charging enough, quitting jobs. Various things have been shared here. So thanks for people they've shared and been vulnerable here. The big message here, though, is that growing through discomfort and experiencing failure is going to be part of this journey. And remember, we're talking about mindset here. And we see this all the time. I speak to people all the time that they're holding themselves back. And there's fear. There's real fear there. They're like, but if I get this wrong, it's all going to be over. Like if I post on Instagram and there's a mistake, people are going to be like, they're going to be laughing at you. They're going to be like sending you mean messages. They're going to be unfollowing you. The reality tends to be quite different. A lot of people won't notice it. And you'll also learn from it. And those learnings will help you improve in future. I know like many people have put the wrong things in emails, like subject lines. Classic, like putting the wrong thing in subject line, like sending it without a subject line. Right? And something really interesting about that, if you send an email to your newsletter with a mistake, it's kind of funny because sometimes you can end up getting more engagement because people start putting it out, you get some discussions going, or you have to send a follow-up, and sometimes you can have really good engagement. I'm not saying do that as a strategy, but it's kind of an interesting thing that can happen. You think it's going to be the end of the world, and sometimes there's positive things that can come out of mistakes as well. Okay, so we are going to talk about next the shift from the mindset of an employee to the mindset of a business owner. Now, one of the things I hear quite often, people say, sometimes this is when we just start working with people or people we speak to, they say, oh, Logan, I'm not really a business owner. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, where are you at? Are you just getting started? They're like, oh, well, I've done a little bit of work. I've sold a couple of things. Like, I might have worked with some people, but I'm not really a business owner. I'm like kind of a freelancer. I'm just kind of like doing this stuff. And I'm like, have you made some money doing it? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, well, guess what? You're a business owner. I was like, is there an intention around being a business owner? Yes. I'm like, great. You need to actually start calling yourself a business owner. Now, it's not as simple as that. It's often these deep feelings around this. Well, what do you mean? How do I define myself as a business owner? I have seen so many definitions of what it means to be a business owner. you get to actually decide what it means to you, and you can act on that. For some people, being a business owner, it might be really important that they have some form of business registration. Right, so we're talking about some of the legal definition. Now, in lots of places, you do not have to register to be a business owner, to call yourself a business owner. But some people say like, oh, I'm not really a business owner. I don't feel like a real business owner unless I like register as an LLC, a limited liability company. Now, if that's something that you feel really strongly about, I'm like, yeah, go register. If that's something that helps, that might make sense. And they're like, but I'm barely bringing much money. I was like, yeah, but you will if you believe you are a business owner. So there's some mindset things that can happen here. I'm not saying you have to register as an LLC either, but for some people, it's important. I'm more talking about the mindsets that you have around your belief of who you are and what you're doing. I even believe someone who has the intention to grow their business, even if they don't have any clients yet, but they're like, this is my dream, this is my goal, and they're taking action towards that. I'm like, they are a business owner. They have a business. They are trying to sell things to people. They're trying to create value in the world. So sometimes that idea of not being a business owner can actually hold you back because it's like, well, it's not really that serious. So there's kind of some interesting things at play here when we start thinking about what it means to be a business owner. Part of it, what I talked about, is the shift of mindset. So part of it is the shift of mindset from being an employee to being a business owner. Now, when you're an employee, it typically means that you have a boss. When you're a business owner, it usually means that you are the boss, right? You are the owner. That can sound amazing. What a dream. You don't have a boss, self-employed, be your own boss. Amazing. The reality is it can be quite hard as well, because suddenly you have no one to direct you, no one to keep you on track, no one to help point you in the right direction, no one to tell you what to do at times. Sometimes it's a really beautiful thing to be told what to do. Hey, go do this thing here. Okay, sounds good. Got it. Obviously, that tends to happen when you're an employee and you want to get rid of it. You're like, I hate being told what to do. And then suddenly you're in your own business and you're like, I actually wouldn't mind if someone could tell me what to do. So there is a shift here. And many people actually struggle with this when they shift from being an employee to being a business owner. Or sometimes, what we recommend is they're actually building the business while they have their day job. Right? There's some mindset things that get in the way. So I was talking earlier about like where you work from. Like, yeah, if you are self-employed, you're running your own business, and if you're working from home, you can work in your sweatpants. You can work in your yoga pants. Right? You can work in your pajamas. You could work from your bedroom. You could sit in bed and on your laptop. Now, am I saying that these things are a no-no? No, I've done them occasionally. But we've got to be very, very aware about how that can make us feel. Because it may not make us feel like we are a professional creative business owner. If we just work from the couch, as we're talking about, I think there's a good one. If we just did that every day, we'd probably feel pretty unmotivated. And we'd be like, why am I so unmotivated? I don't know why that is. But it's because your subconscious and your conscious mind and your body is used to hanging on the sofa relaxing, maybe watching something, watching Netflix. That's kind of like relaxed zone. But actually, when you get into like, if you have an office or if you don't have space for an office, could you put a desk in the corner somewhere? Could you have a table? Could you have a dedicated space? And that's like where you work from. Right? You don't hang out there and do other things. That's your workspace. So part of it is actually also treating it like a real business and being that professional, having that space to work from. If you can have your own office space, amazing. Getting dressed for work, right? If you do not, I'm on a lot of calls, so of course I kind of, I am dressed for work. I'm wearing my shirt right now. Now, whatever your attire is, like actually getting dressed for work is actually a really important thing. Yes, you can hang out and work in your sweatpants and your yoga pants. That's fine. But actually, even if you're not on calls and no one's going to see you, you getting into your work uniform, whatever that is, for the day is going to help you feel motivated and it's going to help you get into work mode. The end is also the same. At the end of the day, you got to get out of your costume, out of your work uniform. right? So at the end of the day, I take my shirt off, I take my dress pants off, and I put on my yoga pants and a t-shirt, right? And sometimes I'll put on like a comfortable jersey or hoodie, right? Like, and what do I feel? I feel really relaxed and calm. I can get out of work mode. So part of it is actually treating it like a job. This is weird. I'm like, wait a minute, we're escaping a job. We're escaping being employed. No, we want freedom. I want to wear whatever I want. Yeah, you get to choose. However, you've got to also be aware. And sometimes what we see works for people is that they actually treat their business like a job. They work 9 to 5. When they're working, they're wearing the clothes they would wear if they'd gone into an office, even if they're working from home. They work from a desk or their art studio or their office, whatever that looks like. So actually treating it like this is a business or treating it like you used to treat a job can be a really powerful thing. And once again, like I said earlier, if you were earning $10,000 per month, how would you act? Well, you're earning $10,000 per month. Would you just work from the couch in your yoga pants? Probably not. Maybe occasionally. Once again, if you're sick or you want to have one of those days, you get to decide. We all do it. It's fine. But we're talking about things as a general rule. It's good to be very, very aware of. Amazing. Okay, we've got a couple more things we're going to take you through. These are incredibly powerful. The next one is probably my favorite thing when it comes to mindset. And I say, hell yeah, self-care. Okay, so self-care is a really, really important part of business. Why is that? Because you are the business. You are the business. So that means if you're having a bad day, if you're burnt out, if you're overwhelmed, if you're exhausted, that also means that your business is burnt out, overwhelmed, exhausted. If you're having a bad day, your business is having a bad day because you are your business. So therefore, what that means is that investing in you is the same thing as investing in your business. And a lot of people think about, oh no, I've just got to work harder, faster, I've got to hustle. I do not believe in hustle culture. It's what burns people out. We really need to manage the balance side. We need to work smarter. Yes, sometimes at times that's going to mean deadlines and a bit more work than we want, but balance is a really, really important thing. Sometimes the thing to do to grow your business is not going to be design more, create more, post to Instagram, send cold emails. Sometimes it's going to look like meditation, yoga, going for a walk, having a massage, taking a break. That's sometimes what growing a business is going to mean. This is so, so important. Something that we do a lot with our clients we work with is help them focus on that side as well and help them realize the importance of this stuff, self-care. So something that I personally does work really well for me is that I get frequent massages. I find it's a really good way to reduce stress. Feels good. I'm often very creative afterwards, after I've massaged, I have all these ideas. So the business pays for the massage. Now, not saying it's necessarily tax deductible, it may depend. Our accountant may not agree with that, but the business pays for it, right? It's a business expense because it's about investing in their business. So just being aware of the stuff is so, so important. It's not going to be all about working harder and doing more and working on weekends and staying up late until it's done. Sometimes it's going to be rest, relaxation, taking a break, putting your feet up, getting a massage, doing some yoga, some meditation. And that's also the sorts of things that can really help you with the things like overwhelm that can come up. It can also really help you when you're feeling a lot's happening in your business, right? When hard stuff's happening, one of the things that happens when bad stuff's happening, when we're failing, when stuff's going wrong, when we've had an annoying client or something's just not worked out, frustrations happened, or we're delayed, what we tend to do as humans is we lean away from self-care, right? Because there's not time. Like Logan said, yeah, it'd be great to do 12 minutes of yoga in the morning, but like, I just need to get to work. I need to get working. There's this client that needs this thing. I need to actually get creating. I need to get posting on Instagram. That's the temptation. And what tends to happen is we start cutting out all of that self-care stuff. Right? We're like, oh, I don't have time for the yoga. I don't have time to get out of the house today. I don't have time for a walk. I'm not going to try and get 5 or 10,000 steps because I don't have time. I have so much to do. Right? That's actually what people often do is they cut out the stuff that they need even more. Sleep less. I got lots to do. I need to sleep less. Many of these things have a bit of a false economy. What tends to happen is that you actually need more self-care when things are tough. You need to create time for the self-care. You need to lean into the self-care. Cutting sleep, for example, just means that the time that you're awake is less efficient. You're going to be yawning more. You're going to feel more exhausted. You're going to be less creative. You're going to be in less of a position to get yourself out of the tough stuff. Meditation. There might be a few people here that meditate. Meditation takes time. You have to really do at least a 15 or 20-minute meditation, ideally once or twice a day. We don't have time for that. That's a lot of time. Well, actually, that'll create more effective time when you are not meditating. It'll help you process stress. You going for a walk or joining a gym is going to give you more energy. It's like, no, well, I thought going to the gym or going for a big walk like takes energy. It's exhausting, right? Like, no, these things add energy. You feel more energy over time. You grow more energy. Oh, that's a good one, Jamie. Absolutely. Worst thing is I cut out breakfast and lunch, right? I have on my calendar, Jamie, you might have heard me talking about this. I have on the calendar lunchtime. Like I literally have an event repeating every day, lunchtime. And yes, I move it around sometimes, have a later lunch, earlier lunch, those things there. But I need a reminder. I need my phone to be like, oh, lunchtime. Oh yeah, I haven't had lunch. Who relates there? Who sometimes gets to like, raise your hand if you get to like 3 p.m. and you're like, I don't have lunch. Oops. Right? It's a pretty common thing. It can definitely happen. So, sometimes it's about putting these systems in place as well. But once again, don't have time for breakfast, don't have time for lunch, I just have to get into work. Well, yeah, but you're now going to be you're going to be inefficient. You're going to be less effective. You're going to feel more overwhelmed. You're not looking after your body and your mind. You're going to lose energy. You're going to get exhausted. Come 3 p.m., you're just going to be like, you're like, wait a minute, I haven't had lunch. Self-care is so important. And sometimes that's what you need to lean into. And when things are tough, you need to lean in even more rather than less. It's like you're having a bad day and you don't have time to do yoga, you probably actually need to do 2 yoga sessions rather than 1. Now, once again, you may not be into yoga. That's fine. You find the things that work for you. You may not be into getting massages. That's fine. Like find the things that work for you, that feel good, that invest in yourself. Investing in you is investing in your business. Okay, so we're going to do another brainstorm. We might do this one straight in the chat, actually. Feel free to fill that chat up with ideas for what you can do to look after yourself. Right? If everyone here can add at least one thing, if you want to add more than one thing, fire them in. What can you do self-care wise to look after yourself? What sorts of things? This is going to give everyone here lots of ideas as well. What are the sorts of things that you can do? I've already mentioned a couple. You can add them in the chat again. What are the sorts of things you could do? Right, lots of stuff being popped in the chat here. Mention things like yoga, meditation, walks, 5,000 steps a day, 10,000 steps a day. Eating, eating food, right? And some people mention what works for them is 1 meal a day. There's different approaches there as well. Walk breaks, Lindsay, plan day down there to make sure that it happens. Taking walks in nature. Oh, that's a good one. Walks in nature. Our eyes need to be looking far away at times. We all spend time looking at the computers. We need to look out the window, look at nature. How else can we do that? Well, we could go for a walk in a forest or a park. Maybe you don't have a forest nearby. Can you walk somewhere with some green grass? Exercise, moving every day, eating balanced meals. Going to the gym. Gym's kind of the same as massages, right? Like you could call that investment in you and investment in your business. As I said, it may not be tax deductible. Your accountant may not agree, but you may still decide that the business is what's paying for that. Drinking water. Oof. Hope everyone's got some water. I think we should all have a little bit of a drink. I feel like I need to drink a ton of water because I spend a lot of time talking. I need to drink even more. Exercise, journaling, reading, read for fun, watch a show to decompress. Lots of good stuff here. Having a planner, setting small goals, Pilates. There we go, Nadine. We've got someone else who loves Pilates as well. More screen breaks throughout the day, connecting with friends and family, naps. There's so many good things being popped in here. 5-minute dance session. That is good. I like that one. Meditation, walk barefoot in nature. That's a good one too. So many things. Tai Chi, nice. Walking in parks. Drinking water. So many amazing things here. All of these things that everyone has mentioned are also investing in your business or the business you're trying to make work or the business you're trying to grow or want to start. These are all things that can help. So yeah, we could also make a list of like sending cold emails and posting on Instagram and designing, and like we make a list like that too. But also sometimes this is going to be the list. And it's going to give you more time, energy, focus for that business stuff, for your creative work that you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to take you all through one more key thing when it comes to mindset, and that is around setting achievable goals. And we like saying, at Flame Entrepreneur, we like saying setting ridiculously achievable actions. So setting achievable goals and achievable actions. How to create actions that will actually motivate you towards your bigger goal versus demotivate you. There's one thing you can do is you can break them down. Break your actions down into little chunks. What a lot of people do is they put something as an action or a goal and they say, I'm going to build my website or I'm going to update my current website. That is a project. That is not an action. Or an action might be to add a new photo to my about page. An action might be to create a paragraph or two for my about page. These are actions. Breaking things down is so essential, right? Try not to just end up with projects. Another project could be to figure out how to do all your Instagram scheduling. That's once again a project, but one thing could be choose a scheduling platform. That is an action. Or find 5 pieces of content that you could use. Find 5 images. Create 5 images. Right? So it's really about breaking things down. And we see this a lot, is that mindset-wise, people get very overwhelmed when they realize how much it takes to build a business. An analogy I sometimes use is that building a business is like building a 10,000 piece puzzle. Anyone else like doing puzzles here? Any other puzzle people? I quite like doing puzzles occasionally. And, I think about it as like, building a business is a 10,000 piece puzzle. I guess you would do it like on a garage floor. You need a lot of space. So many things to do. That is a big project. Very overwhelming. You look at it, you go in there and there's just a pile of pieces. I think most people would go, yeah, no, I'll do that another day. That's too much. I might go do something else. And Logan talked about the self-care stuff. I'm going to go for a walk. Right? Actually breaking things down into those small actions can help you move forward. How do you start a 10,000 piece puzzle? Well, you start with a few pieces. You might start by, I'm going to put them in a big pile of side pieces first. You start piling them into colors. There's things that you can do, and you're probably only going to work on one piece at a time. So this is where breaking things down is really, really important. Now, part of that is how it feels and how you get motivated as well. You moving forward and having those small actions is going to feel good. Wow, I'm ticking things off. Right, having a to-do list where you can do a physical tick or something like Trello where you can tick things off or cross things off. Beautiful, amazing. Actually having a done list is a really important thing. What many people do is when they do the thing, it is removed from their to-do list. And at the end of the day, they look at their to-do list and there's still 100 things on there. And they go, I've done nothing. Actually, they've done a bunch of things, but they're not counting those things. They're just looking at what's to go. Right, so that can be a fun technique, having a done list. Right? Those of you that use something like Trello or some sort of task management system, you could drag things to the done list. Or if you use physical paper, at the end of the day, you could write done. Well, here's what I've done today. Write that out. So small, achievable actions, ridiculously small, achievable actions. What's amazing is that humans are not very good at recognizing how small actions can really make big impact over long periods of time, or even short periods of time, honestly. If you do one thing in your business every day that takes you like 20 minutes because you're really busy with everything else in life, if you do one thing every single day in 30 days, you're going to have 30 times 20 minutes and you're going to notice the differences. You're going to notice your business is moving forward. There's only one thing each day, 20 minutes. And over time, you'll also build up more confidence. You'll feel more motivated because you're seeing, hey, I'm moving things forward, even if it is slow. So achievable actions and achievable goals is such an important part of this, and actually making sure that you can do these things is going to be a lot easier if they're really small. So we're going to do a brainstorm. This one I want you to do on your own notepad, not in the chat, because I want you to keep this for yourself. I want you to do a brainstorm of things that you can do that are going to take less than 15 minutes. Right? Stuff that you can do to grow your business. Let's set a time frame. Let's say something you can do in the next 2 weeks to grow your business. 15-minute task. You don't have to do all of them. We're just doing a brainstorm of what could you potentially do. So I want you to write down as many things as you can. Many things as you can on your list, either on your on a document you have or a piece of paper. What could you be doing? 15 minutes or less. So what other things you could do? 15 minutes or less to grow your business, to work on your business. If it's something that takes you 2 minutes, it's allowed on the list. Anything. It can be under. It can be well under. It can take you 2 minutes. Right, so website's been mentioned a little bit in the chat. Well, break it down. What could you do that's going to take under 15 minutes to update something on your website? What's a small task? What's another small task? Catherine even added in the chat here, email 3 prospects. Absolutely, you can do that under 15 minutes. You can even just email 1. It's going to even take probably even less. Right, so it can be well under 15 minutes, could be 15 minutes. I just want you to brainstorm, see if you can write down some things. While I drink some more water. Okay, so you've got a list of a bunch of things to do. Now, the one thing I will say is if you did something, like I said, 15 minutes, one of these things on the list per day for the next 7 days, you're going to be like, wow, I'm getting things done. You're going to feel motivated and you're going to move a bunch of projects forward. So do not underestimate the power of small, ridiculously easy and achievable actions, because over time, they will really add up. Cool, and something you can work on after this training as well is add that 15-minute list. We're going to be coming towards the end of the summit for day 2 soon. I just wanted to remind you all around that idea of taking action, right? A good action, you've now got a list of some actions that you can be taking. The only way you can really see if this business is going to grow to the next stage is by you trying. Trying, sometimes that looks like learning. Sometimes it looks like trying different things. Sometimes it looks like just trying more of the same. So really important to note that taking action is going to be essential. Now, what we are going to do for the last 5 minutes, as I said, I do have a freebie I'm going to be sharing soon, but one other quick thing is that yesterday, those of you that were on the call, I mentioned about the freebie call with Paul. Paul is the creative business specialist on our team, and we're offering some free calls. Right, we've got limited spots. I know a bunch of people booked them yesterday, which is awesome. Paul's really excited about chatting with you. I am going to pop it in the chat again. If you didn't manage to do that, or if today's your first day and you haven't spoken to Paul in the past and you would love to speak to him, can you just pop that link open and book in a call? He will be able to help you to consolidate some of these learnings. He'll be able to hear about where you're at in your business and offer some ideas as well. Just those caveats again, I mentioned them briefly yesterday, but you need to be someone who wants to take action. You need to be in a place where you really want to grow your business, not just gathering some information, some ideas. We want you to be someone who wants to take action. You also need to be able to get vulnerable, be open about where you're at, be coachable, and commitment is really important. Please don't waste Paul's time. Please don't arrive late. Please try and do it from a table, a stable environment where you can jump on a video call with him and have a good chat. So do book that in if you haven't yet. He would love to connect with you. What I am going to take you through now is that giveaway. So I'm just going to be firing this straight into the chat. But basically, the morning routine checklist is a piece of content I created. I want everyone to pop that open. I know it's a big, long document link, but you can pop that open there and there'll be a button that says download so that you can actually save this PDF to your device. Now, this here is just another piece of mindset action around what you could be doing around a morning routine. These are just ideas. You do not have to do all of these things, but these are some of the things that I do or have done in the past. Having a solid morning routine can be a really great way to build your business, to refocus your mind around the mindset stuff, to work on things like self-care as well. So do make sure you've popped that open. That is obviously a resource, but there's a lot of inspiration on different ideas there as well. Okay, cool. So as we come towards the end, day 3 tomorrow, I'm super excited about because it is all about pricing. What to charge, how to increase prices. This is one of these things that everyone struggles with. Even people who have been in business for years often end up undercharging. People who are early stage definitely undercharge. And it's a pretty classic thing in the creative fields to undercharge. Now, unfortunately, it's not as easy as just increasing prices. Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes that does the trick, but often it's other factors in play as well. How can you create more value? How can you find the right sorts of clients? So we're going to be diving into all of these things on tomorrow's training. Just a reminder for the summit tomorrow, day 3, it's on the same link. It's at the same time. Please try and join on time if you can, but if you can only come for part of it, it's totally fine as well. What I would love everyone to do, just like we did yesterday, I would love everyone to share takeaways in the chat. What have you learned today or what you're going to implement? So if everyone can fire something in, even if you're on your phone, feel good, grab it and type something in. What other things that you've learned today? What have you found useful, interesting, powerful, surprising? If everyone can just add that to the chat. Amazing. And just as everyone's doing that, I've got a challenge for you all. The challenge or homework for everyone here that's live, or people watching the recording, in the next 24 hours, I want you to do one thing towards self-care. Probably something that you put on the list on the chat. I want you to do one thing in the next 24 hours before we have tomorrow's day 3. All right, so think about what that one thing is now. You can add it to the chat if you want, you don't have to. But I want you to make sure that that is your homework for today, to do one thing. It could be go for a walk, could be do yoga, it could be stretch, it could be walk, could be book a massage. It could be something that looks after you. So that is my homework for you all. Just sharing some of the different things that are popping up in the chat around the takeaways. Live how you want to live, how you live how you want to live how you want. Oh, I love that. That's cool, Lindsay. How important self-care is. Self-care is vital and important. Be strategic in taking care of yourself. I know. Yeah, I love that. Slow progress, small wins. Yes, Catherine sharing. I like the reminder of self-care as a boost for productivity. Thanks for inspiration and motivation today, Logan. Yeah, fun to see everyone as well. Connecting for sure. Getting everyone connecting. Allowed to take a walk or a nap. Yes, that's an important one, Christine. You're allowed to do these things. Allowed to do these things. Instead of forcing yourself to push through, there's going to be times where taking that break. Going to go meditate. Thanks, Logan. I love it. Amazing, everyone. Lovely seeing everyone today. Have a great rest of your day. Looking forward to seeing everyone on day 3. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. Ciao.